Good morning to Keep the Faith with Pastor Frank. Pray that you're doing well and look forward to our little devotion this morning. We'll still be in John. I titled this Lazarus chapter 3. So as you join us this morning, let me greet you. Good morning, Brother Russell. It's good to see you online. I pray you're doing well. Pastor Gary Langley, it's good to see you with us this morning. Pastor Lloyd Walty, good to see you this morning. Good morning, Sister Gina, good to see you. Good morning, Sheila. Pray you're doing well. Hope you got your well fixed. This morning, good morning, Brother James. Good to see you online. Pray you're doing well. Good morning, Gigi. Good to see you online this morning. Pray things are going well for you. Good morning, Sister Liz. It's good to see you online. So, pray everybody's doing good. Liz says good morning to everyone. So I've been talking the last 2 or 3 times about Lazarus. Actually, the last 2. Should be the last one about Lazarus. And so that's great, Brother Ernie and Sister Rachel. We love them. We'll still keep praying for them. Hope to see them one day too soon. Brother Lee says, so we're going to be looking at Lazarus at John, the Gospel of John, chapter 11, and we'll start with verse 33 and go down for quite some verses here. So I'm going to start reading. If anyone else joins us, we'll say hi to them in a minute. But verse 33, when Jesus saw her weeping and saw other people wailing with her, a deep anger welled up within him, and he was deeply troubled. Where have you put him? He asked them. They told him, Lord, come and see. Then Jesus wept. The people who were standing nearby said, see how much he loved him? But some said, this man healed a blind man. Couldn't he have kept Lazarus from dying? Jesus was still angry as he arrived at the tomb, a cave with a stone rolled across its entrance. Roll the stone aside, Jesus told. But Martha, the dead man's sister, protested, Lord, he has been dead for 4 days. The smell will be terrible. Jesus responded, I didn't tell you you would see God's glory. Didn't I tell you if you would see God's glory if you believe? So they rolled the stone aside. Then Jesus looked up to heaven and said, Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me, but I said it out loud for the sake of all these people standing here, so they will believe you sent me. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come out. And the dead man came out, his hands and feet bound in grave clothes, his face wrapped in a headcloth. Jesus told them, unwrap him and let him go. Many of the people who with Mary believed in Jesus when they saw this happen, but some went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the leading priests and Pharisees called the high council together. What are we going to do? They asked each other. This man certainly performs many miraculous signs. If we allow him to go on like this, soon everyone will believe in him. Then the Roman army will come and destroy both our temple and our nations. So I started off talking about how Jesus used Lazarus as an object lesson for his disciples. Jesus was soon to be taken and crucified, put in a tomb, and it was important for Jesus not only to demonstrate to his disciples, but other believers that he truly was the Messiah, that he truly had the power over life and death, that he truly had all the power of the Father and invested in it. So when he heard that Lazarus was ill, he waited until after Lazarus had passed away. So when he gets there, he finds Martha and Mary, two very staunch believers. Both of them realized that if Jesus would have been there, Lazarus wouldn't have died. And Jesus' point here wasn't the fact that if he would have been there, Lazarus wouldn't have died. In fact, everyone around him at that point would have conceded the fact that if Jesus had been there, Lazarus wouldn't have died. But and his disciples were probably wondering why he waited. And then he goes and he gets to the grave. They tell him, this is going to smell real bad. The smell's going to be terrible if you roll a stone away. He's been there 4 days. Jesus said, roll it away. And then he calls out the name of Lazarus. Lazarus, come out. So he said a prayer right before. It's interesting here, and I want to read it again. He says, didn't I tell you that you would see God's glory if you would believe? Then Jesus looked up to heaven and said, Father, thank you for hearing me. You always hear me, but I said it out loud for the sake of all these people standing here so they will believe you sent me. Then Jesus shouted, Lazarus, come forth. And so here he just basically prayed out loud and wanted it to be a demonstration to the people that God answered his prayer when he asked Lazarus to come forth. So several things began to happen. And one of those things was a lot of people believed on Jesus. Other people took and reported what Jesus had done to the high priest and his group. And if you'll read on down, it's then when they decided that they needed to kill Jesus and they needed to kill Lazarus. So many times when things happen in our life, we don't understand really what's going on. But the fact is, a lot of times, if you're one of those people who love the Lord, you're faithful to him, and you follow him in everything that you do, then God can use you as an example of steadfastness, an example of love, an example of faith, an example of in many different ways if you allow him to do that. Now, I dare say Lazarus didn't know he was being an example. Mary and Martha obviously didn't know Lazarus was being used as an example. But Jesus needed to make, as he knew his time was growing short on the earth, there needed to be a real clear statement that he was the Son of God, that he was the Messiah, that he had the power over life and death. And it was beautifully demonstrated at the resurrection of Lazarus. Now, I've always said that if Jesus just would have said, come forth, everyone in that area that had passed away would have come out of their graves. But he specifically called Lazarus out of the grave. And then he told the people, Jesus didn't go over and take all of the pieces of him. And I want you to understand, when people come out of darkness into light, we have a part to play in this. We're the ones that are supposed to help them, disciple them, And he told the people there to take all the stuff off of them and let him go. Because actually he had quite a bit of stuff. If tradition is true, probably 80 pounds of stuff was wrapped around him, and he needed to have that taken away. So they probably had several people taking off the grave clothes. And that's like us a lot of times whenever we begin to help someone who has just come to know Christ, and we begin to help them escape the habits they used to have, escape the fear that they used to have, the things that we do. We aim to help them learn about Jesus and learn about his love and his grace and his mercy. Then that's exactly kind of symbolically what we're doing, is we're taking off them old grave, or those old grave clothes that seem to hang on to people when they're when they become a new believer, and then we're setting them free, and that's what we're supposed to do. So the whole kind of nutshell of this is uh, Jesus used Lazarus as a much needed object lesson before he was crucified, to show he was the true Messiah, to show he was the Alpha and the Omega, to show he had the power over life and death, to show that he was who he said he was, to his disciples as well as to all of the other people. There was a good number of people there because Lazarus was well known and well loved. And as they were there, of course, when others, the Pharisees, heard that Jesus was there, there was probably a couple of delegations sent by the high priest to come there. So there was a significant number of people there that literally came to see what Jesus would do. And he did what God does. He raised them from the dead. And I know so many times it looks like we get so discouraged we don't think we can make it anymore. I've seen marriages raised from the dead. I've seen finances raised from the dead. I've seen all kinds of things raised up because of the power of God, that he leaves and he gives and invests in us so that we can be a part of this resurrection process. So also we need to always take to heart, just like Jesus uh, raised Lazarus, he's also going to raise us. So raise us to eternal life with him. And I think it's important for us to realize as we go through life, don't be surprised if God uses you because of your faith, because of your love, because of your joy, because of your faithfulness, because of whatever. God uses you as a lesson to tell other people it's okay to keep your faith in God. And so that's the reason I always say keep the faith, no matter what goes on, no matter what is happening. I encourage you to keep the faith and continue to serve God, and you'll see a great outpouring of the Spirit. You'll see a great joy, a great love, and you'll see a resurrection in whatever area of life that's necessary. So this morning, I just wanted to share that with you and pray that God would bless you through the day and through the week, and pray that God would just really move in your life in a special way so that we can see a revival break out in this country. And we really need to see a wonderful revival of the salvations of souls. God bless you all, and I appreciate you so much. Keep the faith. I'll see you again Monday morning.